Hi, I'm Malaysia. Welcome to my channel, Ali Invest. This year 2020, we are all suffering because of the pandemic, and some countries have hit it very hard in terms of GDP and property prices. So is Cambodia still a good investment to invest in 2020? This video is an ultimate guideline on how to invest in Cambodia property in the year of 2020. Let's take a look at this article written August 2020. Cambodia has not suffered a single year of recession in 20 years. It skipped the Asian financial crisis of the 1990s, ignored the tech bubble of the early 2000s, and even outgrew the recent 2008 financial crisis. Was there's no such thing as a recession-proof country, it is about as close as it gets. Because Cambodia, like many frontier markets, is less correlated with the global economy. And a large reason of why countries face property bubble is because people default on their loans. When they lose their job, they are unable to pay their monthly mortgage, and it results in defaulting their loans, and that's when the bank comes in to seize their property. So for Cambodia, most of the locals there do not take loans, and even foreigners, most of the projects there do not allow foreigners to take loans. So because there is very little loans being taken, that's why it results in lesser defaults of property in Cambodia. Okay, so now let's look at this article further. It says that foreign investment activities in Cambodia has grown by more than 800% in the past decade. And a lot of multinational firms move in with their workforce to set up operations in the capital, Phnom Penh, have fueled a need for suitable housing and piqued the interest of property investors. Okay, so whilst there's definitely opportunities, especially in the inner core of Phnom Penh, such as Duan Phen district, Chakamon and Seven Makara, he admits, and this is important to know, that investors have been burned by projects not completed or inadequate materials being used, and stresses the importance of brand value. So this is important to note. When we are investing in foreign countries, we are not able to travel there to actually see whether the development will be built up. We are not there to see the quality of the development. So it is important to actually find a developer which has a proven track record in the country, and it's best if within the city itself. This I completely agree with his next paragraph. Buy from a developer who has at least 3 or more completed projects. He says, noting that there are good local developers such as Prince Real Estate, and I want to zoom into Crete Development by Cambodia, because we have a project there called Botaiju, which I will share with you in another video, because it's too much information, and including the previous project which I talked about, Flatiron, developed by Meridian. They have at least 3 developed projects there. So 2020 ultimate guideline for buying Cambodia properties is: number 1, find a good and reputable developer. Make sure the developer has at least 3 or more projects being developed in that country. So the next guide is: can foreigners buy investment properties in Phnom Penh? The answer is yes. Foreigners can own strata titled properties in Cambodia. They cannot own the land. If a foreigner buys land in Phnom Penh, it has to be shared with a local, meaning the foreigner owns 49%, less than half of the entire development, whilst the local owns at least 51%. That is the circumstance that a foreigner can buy a landed property in Phnom Penh, is that he has to share with a local. If he wants to solely own a property in Phnom Penh, he has to buy a strata titled property. So all the projects which I've been sharing, including the one that I personally own, is all strata titled properties. It could be strata titled Soho, strata titled condo, strata titled retail lots, strata titled grade A offices. As long as it's strata titled, you can own 100% as a foreigner. So that's guide number 2 on foreigners owning property in Cambodia. Guide number 3 is: what are the taxes involved in buying a property in Phnom Penh. So taxes would be property tax, income tax. Property tax is 0.1%, very low, of annual valuation of your property. So annual valuation is not purchase price. Annual valuation is given by the government. Every year they go and assess how much your land is and how much that plot or that unit that you own, the value, the share value is, and based on that they assess how much is your annual valuation. So how do you pay this property tax? Every year you have to go down to Phnom Penh itself, Cambodia itself, to pay this property tax. You got to go down to their office with your title deed and pay your property tax. So some developments, like for example the one that I bought, the bridge, and another project developed by the same developer, the Peak, you do not have to pay property tax because developer pays you your rental after minusing the property tax and income tax. So you don't have to travel to Phnom Penh every year just to pay your property tax. Next thing is rental or income tax. So income tax is 14% for foreigners. The third tax is stamp duty tax, which is 4% based on annual valuation. This stamp duty tax is to get your hard title deed. You have to pay stamp duty fees to the government in order for the government to issue your hard title deed to prove that this is your property and you do own the property. Okay, so that is tip number 3 on taxes. Okay, what about ongoing fees? Just like most countries, every month you have to pay maintenance fee to maintain a condominium, or if you have a grade A office or whatever it is, there is pools, facilities, common walkways. They need someone to maintain, like the cleaners, sweepers, to maintain all these things. So all the unit owners have to pay this maintenance fee. The amount depends on what development you are buying. If it's a high-end development, usually it's about 150 to 2 USD per square meter. So that's very low in relatives to other countries. Next is management fees. Management fees is what you have to pay. If let's say you have a retail lot, you have to pay the mall management to manage for you. If you have a condominium or an office, you need an agent to help you to lease out your property. You have to pay commission to the agent. So the market rate for Cambodia is 1 month's rental for 1 year's lease. So let's say you are renting out for 4 years. It would be 1 month's rental plus 25% of that month's rental times 4 years. Let's say your rental is $500 a month. You pay $500 plus 25% of the 500. 25% of 500 will be 125. 125 times 4 years, because we are renting out for 4 years. So $125 times 4 years, it's 500 plus your initial 1 month's rental. So you have to pay this agent $1,000 for leasing out 4 years for you at $500 a month. So that is your commission or management fees. Okay, and one very common question is, what other fees do you have to pay other than all these taxes and maintenance management fees? It would be legal fees. You have to pay a lawyer to help you to witness or notarize your sales and purchase. This depends on developers. Some developer needs you to notarize your sales and purchase contract, some do not need. So if let's say you need to notarize, it will be ranging from 300 to 600 USD. Okay, and then upon completion, you need to get your hard title deed. And how to get your hard title deed? You need a lawyer to help you to execute all these admin works. The lawyer would charge about $1,500 to $2,000, depending if the developer has arranged their in-house lawyer or you want to engage your own lawyer. All these are the extra fees that you have to take note of when buying Cambodia property. Let's run through all the important tips when buying Cambodia property in 2020. Number 1, make sure the developer is reputable and has a proven track record in Cambodia. Especially in these trying times, some developers may not be able to complete their project because of not enough finances, construction slowing down, or they are unable to import and export materials because of the current pandemic. So make sure that the developer has a good financial backing. Number 2 is location. When you are investing in the frontier market, you have to invest in the inner core city, because that is where infrastructure starts to build up. So for frontier markets, usually there is hardly any infrastructure or government planning to have infrastructures like your MRT subway lines. So in order to benefit as fast as possible, I would recommend you to focus on the inner city of Cambodia, which is Phnom Penh, Savannakhara and Chakamon area. Number 3 is to be aware of all the taxes, property tax, income tax and stamp duty. Guide 4 is ongoing fees, and lastly, what are the other fees payable when buying Cambodia property. So I hope this guide has been useful for you, and if you would like to know about real estate investing and how to grow your financial portfolio, do subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.